The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar by solutionXchg. Our topic is content server selection in an S/4HANA environment, cloud or on-premise. We're very excited you all could attend and hope you will find this topic of interest to you and your organization. My name is Kristen Gerling, and I will be your host throughout the webinar. Up front, a few administrative items. The presentation will take about 20 minutes today, with 10 minutes reserved for questions at the end. And we will conclude with a quick summary, and we'll spend some time on answering any questions that might have come up during the presentation. So you can post your questions in the right-hand question panels. All participants are on mute during the full duration of the webinar. Also, if you cannot hear us or if you cannot see the presentation, please alert us through the question panel. To those that are of you who are interested after the webinar, please, and you would like a transcript of the slides, please let us know through an email at info@solutionxchg.com. That is info@solutionxchg.com. But let's dive right into the topic. Our speaker today will be my business partner, Jochen Hager. Jochen, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Kristen. My name is Jochen Hager. I'm a business partner with solutionXchg, a managing partner with solutionXchg, and I will be conducting our webinar today. The topic today is something we have discussed with many clients in consulting exercises as well as in content server selection presentations, and that is selecting the right content server for you and selecting the right environment to run your content server. More and more customers are interested in running their SAP content server in a cloud environment. Many are asking us whether they can run the content server not in their own IT centers and manage the storage and the hardware, but rather have a content server running in an Azure cloud or in an AWS cloud. But first of all, let's step back a step and let's find out what is driving these discussions. Why are people at this point switching architecture or looking at different content server solutions at all? I think over the years, it has become that enterprise content management solutions or ECM solutions have a number of shortfalls. Many customers started out buying these solutions with high-flying estimates on how many documents that they would store, and having this universal repository with everything in one place. This led to solutions that were often oversized and much bigger than the actual needs, and with that, way more expensive in terms of annual maintenance, server maintenance, and infrastructure needs, as well as personnel needs. In the end, it turned out that many companies never ever rolled out these solutions company-wide, so they overpaid and have systems built for millions of documents when they actually only have in the hundreds of thousands. Also, these days, a terabyte is not a lot of storage anymore. Really, in the years past, storage was very expensive and had to be utilized extremely well by specialized archiving systems. Today, the solutions can be much slimmer, much slicker, and are basically, especially in an SAP environment, an intelligent connector that is able to link between your SAP system and simple file system storage, or file system storage that has been augmented by compliant software that prevents any deletion and adds security keys and hash codes and hash sums to it, so that it can be made secure from a regulatory perspective. Another effect we see is that with that oversizing, many companies bought into these solutions 20 years ago and bought those at a premium, whereas maintenance has never gone down. It's stayed at 20 or 25% over the years. And we have had customers that were able to save more than 50% on their annual maintenance with just switching to a different solution, a more current solution, and a more streamlined solution without compromising on functionality. So the cost disadvantage comes from complexity and administration, expensive hardware, that dedicated hardware that was required in the past, often a database. Those extensive systems of the past used databases to maintain the index information, and then of course the oversized maintenance. Those are all the cost disadvantages that prompt people today, and even more in an S/4HANA environment, to look at replacing their solutions and find more cost-effective solutions. In addition to the consideration of replacing your system with a more modern system, there's also the consideration of virtualizing everything. Again, in the past, you had dedicated Unix, Linux, or Windows machines. Nowadays, most of our clients opt for a virtualized environment, and that virtualization in itself allows you to move these servers easily into the cloud and have them hosted on your Amazon or your Azure cloud environments. In addition, you can scale up these systems in the cloud easily. You can start them on more powerful servers. You can add memory, you can add computing power, and all of that leads to a significant reduction in maintenance costs, especially if you figure in all your internal maintenance costs for building, updating the Unix or Linux systems over the years. And we have seen many companies do this. We have helped many companies switch, and it would absolutely make sense for you to look at that opportunity as well. So don't hesitate. Let us help you figure out if this would be something that would satisfy your requirements as well. Why would we specifically look or highlight the KGS content server for storage? The content server for storage with its architecture has many features that are quite suitable for cloud store for cloud operation. It is in itself cloud ready by utilizing a web service architecture that services the SAP Archive Link Interface. It has one of the best migration tools in the market to move your data from your existing archiving solution into a new solution. It allows for easy snapshot backups of the actual server and its configuration, and compared to other industry products is better, faster, simpler, and significantly cheaper. Now, why would we consider running these services, content servers for SAP in the cloud and not on premise? The main arguments are higher availability, better scalability, lower costs, less complexity, and improved elasticity. Higher availability stems from dedicated environment in the cloud, guaranteed with guaranteed high availability rates, breaking away from your personal computer center IT server environment where you have to have people on standby to maintain server uptime, or you even pay an outsourcing outfit to take care of your server outsourcing. These solutions can today be achieved by an Azure environment or an AWS environment, or even by your hosting company at a better rate with better availability rates. The scalability, as I said before, a big argument. You can add storage, you can add computing power as the need in your enterprise grows. So there's no need for that oversized archive server anymore that you built out at day one to service the maximum load that you might not even get to in the next 4 or 5 years. You start with the size and service you need, and you increase it easily over time. We all know that we get better pricing on storage and better server capacity from these services over time, less complexity in setting up in eliminating a whole set of infrastructure, usually with a database server, with an application server, with a storage server. So you kind of wrap 3 hardware servers that were in your computing environment. And if you have a test environment, you would have to double that and can easily push that into the cloud in a virtualized setting. And of course, improved elasticity. Think about that month-end close where you have all your users hitting the archive at once. That retrieval power can be provided to them when they need it, with tuning it down to normal load during the month or during the rest of the year, thinking about the year-end close. Now, here is a couple of things you should consider when moving into the cloud. Definitely, you would have to have a clear requirements analysis in terms of where are your users? Are they US based? Do you have subsidiaries in other countries? Do they need access? Do you have to have some replication in place? We have some customers, large multinational companies that require access from the Western Hemisphere as well as from Asia, PAC countries. And in those situations, you have to clearly understand upfront what are your requirements and how are you going to design your architecture. Moving into the cloud always sounds great, but it's not completely without risks. Of course, you are dealing with archiving data. So those documents are compliance documents. They range from invoices to service orders to maybe even personnel documents to archived data of your company holding a lot of information on your business. And you would have to structure the right security environment with your cloud service provider to make sure that this data is actually secured in a private cloud, and with that cannot be breached more easily than anything you would run in your own IT center. Of course, switching has a cost to it. The data needs to be migrated, so there's a certain ROI calculation that you should look at. And then most important, you would have to clearly spell out your service level requirements so that you can approach your cloud service provider and right size the environment. And with all that information ready, you would be able to go to the next step and do a provider selection, and then understand what the different providers have to offer, whether that might be an SAP hosting shop that does your cloud service provisioning, or if you just go with Azure or AWS as two of the big ones. The smaller ones as well, but most of the clients we're working with gravitate to either one of these two or to a more dedicated SAP hosting company. Then it comes time to formulate the contractual agreements and plan the migration process, and then essentially hand over the service function to the cloud. Even there, there is a couple of options. It could be just a cloud hosting scenario where the cloud service provider basically offers you computing power, and you are responsible for maintaining the operating system and everything. Or you could go a step further where you have them responsible, and that will be more in a hosting scenario for the server and its software, and you might just own the data and maybe the software license. Now, getting into the cloud is just as critical as having the capability to leave. Entering the cloud requires that you figure out what you do with your legacy documents. Is everything moving into the cloud? Will you leave some stuff behind? Do you have can you see that as an opportunity to leave older documents that have expired from a retention management perspective behind? You would have to find out, are there any necessary business process changes that are coming maybe with your S/4HANA switch, where you redesign in a brownfield or greenfield implementation your business processes. Is that going to affect your cloud services as well? You would have to define and set up a migration procedure. How will you get the data into the cloud? Some companies have terabytes of data. Moving that much in a short period of time over a regular data connection could be quite expensive. You might have to figure out migration procedures that involve good old shipping of storage media, which cloud service providers allow you to do. And the tools we have available would actually support a migration procedure like that. Migration cost has to be considered. And then you have everything in the cloud. You have your content server and your storage in the cloud. But please pay attention to these other very important effects, because no one wants to be held hostage. No one wants to be stuck with a certain computer software or a certain environment. Therefore, it's very important to understand how and plan for leaving the cloud at the same time you enter it. So you have to pay close attention to potential vendor lock-in. Is there a way where or is there a way to move the complete image and to move, let's say, from one cloud service provider to another one? Can that be done through virtualization, maybe, that you migrate complete images? Definitely. If you have a hosting partner, you might want to be able to switch that, discuss an exit strategy with them upfront, put the legalities in place, and also consider the switching cost if or should you be forced to switch providers. Now, again, this opportunity, all these considerations we looked at the beginning, overpriced and oversized systems allow us to reconsider what we need and plan accordingly. And your S/4HANA implementation also provides that opportunity. You're at a point where you work with your business owners to redesign your business processes for an S/4HANA environment. Now, that is a perfect opportunity and a larger budget you can tag this implementation onto, and also review your archiving requirements, what you do with your system today, what you're paying for it, and if there is an opportunity to right size it or potentially move it into the cloud with your S/4HANA migration. As said before, we can make the migrations fast and almost risk-free. We have proven that in many scenarios. The switch from the old system to the new system is almost by the press of a button or the flip of a switch, and it can be done in a seamless fashion, so the end users will not notice any disruption in service. New solutions bring significant savings and allow you to even reduce or repurpose the existing hardware. And if you move into the cloud, maybe your local server farm in your IT shop can be used and utilized for other ways. Now let's look at how SAP sees the migration to the cloud. There is the classical S/4HANA environment, the S/4HANA on-premise environment here continues to have a document attachment and document management layer. That document attachment, document management layer, the bubble here in the middle, connects to the traditional SAP content server or any other service. And I added the KGS logo here to this slide to showcase that any archive link compliant service can be connected to S/4HANA on-premise architectures in the future. That is SAP's strategy until at least 2025. So we have existing applications that are available with SAP ERP. We have special managed document applications SAP is providing, as well as a unified handling of attachments that integrates with all the modern SAP interfaces, mobile documents, Fiori interfaces, and so on. And all of that is based on the SAP S/4HANA attachment and document management functionality. There is also an SAP DMS connector that bridges to the SAP Document Center. With that, on the SAP HANA Cloud Platform, we have integration with SAP Document Center applications that run on the S/4HANA Cloud Platform. Vendors will continue to build and offer their own application, building on the interfaces and functionality that is available with the SAP Document Center and the Document Center Bridge. And other cloud applications by SAP, like SAP Ariba and SuccessFactors, are also hooked into this Document Center Bridge. So this is how SAP sees the future. The old world continues to rely on SAP Archive Link. All on-premise functionality relies on SAP Archive Link. And the SAP Document Center services all cloud-based applications. And there is a bridge from the SAP Document Center in the HANA Cloud Platform to the attachment and document management in the classical on-premise S/4HANA, the SAP DMS connector. And with that, you can even reach from the Document Center into your Archive Link connected content server or a KGS, SAP content server, a KGS content server. We'll be at Sapphire here next week, and hopefully we'll get an update on this, this is a fairly recent slide as made available by SAP to us in 2019, just a few months ago, and we're looking forward to see more of this and see more applications at Sapphire this year in Orlando. Just so that we understand the layering, the content server software layer on the very top, SAP Archive Link connects to the KGS storage software. KGS storage software can connect to a file system or API, for example, by Eternity. That is the type of compliance software I mentioned before that allows you to encrypt the data on disk, so you can use regular file system NAS or a regular storage that is augmented by software to be a compliant storage system. All this can be moved in the cloud, so this would be the complete stack of software and servers that would move into an Azure or a AWS cloud. Now, the migration, a few words on that, is done by a tool called KGS Migration for Archive Link. It's the best solution available that we have found after quite some effort and comparison with all the solutions we know about in the market. It has been specifically developed to satisfy SAP archiving requirements, has a very unique approach with a scalable, high-performance server architecture that's completely built on web services. You can even have multiple servers run against one archive server, migration servers against one archive server to pull document. It's certified for the latest SAP Archive Link and S/4HANA environments, and also supports ILM functionality. In our eyes, it's the best fit, an entire system developed with 100% compliance to SAP standards in mind. Here are a couple of highlights in terms of implementation projects we have completed. With Armstrong, we did an archive replacement and subsequent system split, and archive split supported that. We didn't do the system split, the SAP system split, but we worked with the consulting companies in place and received instructions on how to subsequently split the archive system. We migrated over 28 million documents, in fact, twice over the years, once with the archive replacement and then with system split. Over 8 terabyte of data moved in less than 2 months, with over 1 million documents moved per day, quite impressive numbers. Procter & Gamble, another another customer we are servicing, has a global archive that it replaced for 8 production SAP instances. Total migration, in this case, the migration effort itself, after setting it up with our help, was conducted by the customer. That goes a long ways to showing you that these projects can be either customer-driven or consulting-driven. Wells Fargo Bank asked us to consolidate 2 legacy archives into one new target archive. We did a full validation of all data and achieved a 0 downtime cutover, basically cutting over in less than half an hour from the old to the new data. This is more for your records. KGS software is fully certified for S/4HANA. Please ask us if you would like to receive any details. Let me wrap this up with a few words on us, on SolutionXchg. We are a integration organization, a company that focuses on business process analysis in the SAP document environment. We have expertise in SAP module customizing, project management, enterprise content management, and other adjacent and surrounding topics. We work with a selected few vendors that provide solutions in our specific niche space. KGS, which we mentioned many times today, is the content server provider. We favor Eternity provides secure SAP secure storage software that allows you to turn any hardware storage into a compliant storage device. TJC software has all tools and additional functionality around data archiving. We offer our own services and tools, specifically the solutionXchg Archive Content Connector, to simplify testing and continuously connect to quality control systems to data that might reside in test or in production systems, with the capability to support full SAP security for that access to the production system, as well as hiding sensitive document, masking sensitive documents in the process. PBS software with the usual data archiving tools is also available on request. And a few words to us. Again, we deal with innovative software products and with top references in the US market. We have over 20 years of SAP archiving document management expertise. We're a premier KGS reseller, Eternity reseller, and agent in the US since 2010, and we're specialized on low-cost, high-quality, high ROI SAP add-on solutions from these selected vendors. Now I hand it back to Kristen, and let's see if we got any questions.
Thank you, Jochen. Yeah, so this concludes the presentation section of the webinar today, and the floor is now open for your questions. While we're waiting for questions to come in, I would like to highlight again that we have on the GoToMeeting administration panel a section where you can download 2 of our case studies, one for the Procter & Gamble scenario that you heard here, and one for the Armstrong scenario. So please feel free and check those out, and hope you enjoy reading through them. So first question that came in is, which cloud providers do you work with?
We basically work with any cloud service provider that you have a relationship with. We ourselves use Amazon AWS cloud for our own test and quality control servers and demo services, demo servers. So that it is one of them. Many of our clients have a relationship with Microsoft for most of their server operating systems, and naturally gravitate to the Microsoft Azure cloud. So that's another one. We have customers that have looked at hosting providers like Freudenberg IT and other providers. We work with a small company called Techsperts. So there is a selection of cloud service providers that we could recommend, or if you have your preferred provider, let us know and we will get in contact with the provider, and in a short period of time we could probably let you know if that provider would be a suitable hosting solution for your content server.
Thanks. The second question that came in is, do I still need a content server when I go to S4HANA?
Yes, you still need one specifically if you have legacy data that is archive link connected. SAP is looking at a cloud-based storage solution that is S4HANA Cloud platform connected and stores in a file system. That will be basically a replacement for the traditional SAP content server. SAP, though, charges for for their HANA Cloud Platform licenses. So be prepared if you use something like that, that you would probably have to have HANA Cloud Platform licenses for all employees who retrieve documents from there. So again, in the near future, if you run S4HANA on premise, based on the information we have, I believe the best solution still is to run your either SAP content server or KGS content server or whatever content server you prefer in a traditional archive link connected fashion in the cloud or on premise.
And here is question number 3. Are there any pitfalls when moving an archive into the cloud?
What you have to consider is in many cases, significant amount of data you're moving. If you look at the examples we presented, 8 terabyte, or I believe the other one was in the neighborhood of 28 terabyte. That is still a significant amount of data that has to be moved through a corporate pipe or the World Wide Web. If you encode, and even with HTTPS communication and secure links, if you send that much data, it will take weeks or months. So you have to take a good look at migration speed. We can help with that. We can do a test installation that allows you to gauge your migration speed, and there's ways around it that are supported. Specifically, what we would do is we would most likely, if there is a lot of data that needs to be transferred in a short amount of time, we would migrate to an external file system and take that external file system and still physically ship it to a cloud service center and then re-import it on the other end. That is a very straightforward process, and we have done that actually for one of our clients that that sold an operation overseas in Europe. We extracted the data here in the US, and then the data was shipped to Europe, where it was then re-imported by the legal successor of that company and the owner of the data. Thank you.
Okay. So there are no more questions, and therefore I'm left to say thank you very much for attending our webinar today. Hope this was interesting for you, and we hope to see you again on one of our next webinars. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.